Big-time job, huge salary, and a lot of security. Would you walk away? She did, with no regrets. Welcome, and thanks for watching Black Enterprise Business Report. I'm Sean Gables. Today, no money and facing foreclosure. We'll have wealth building advice. Plus, business, pleasure, and religion. Our Entrepreneur of the Week makes it profitable, and the Lux Life, making money while you eat. But first, she's president of the nation's largest African-American owned bank with assets of nearly $750 million. Deborah C. Wright is our power player. Whether you've already earned a big fortune or you're currently in the process, most of us keep our money in a bank. Question is, will you deposit yours here at Carver Federal Savings Bank, the largest publicly traded African-American-run financial institution based in one of the most storied urban areas in the world, Harlem, New York.
Global institutions in the last 5-6 years have discovered the inner city and the economic power of African Americans, and now they're coming after those relationships. And by the way, they have a lot of money to put behind advertising.
But for Chairman and CEO Deborah Wright, whose goal is to make Carver the first black bank with $1 billion in assets, she believes leveling the playing field comes first.
Community banking is very different than global banking. Community banking means you're in the neighborhood, you live in the neighborhood, and therefore you know everybody in the neighborhood. The loans that we do aren't, put your name in a computer, credit score pops up, yes, no. These are go out, kick the tires, get to know the entrepreneur. Financials may or may not tell you all you need to know.
Risk management separates Carver from industry banking giants. And according to Deborah Wright, this allows her bank to compete in ways Wachovia, Chase, and Bank of America can't.
80% of our deposits go right back in the neighborhood in real estate loans and small business loans. And there's no money center bank in the world that can say that. So if you care about, we tell our folks all the time, if you care about the growth of your own communities and your institutions, then this is the place to put your dollars.
But growing your community, along with your bank, requires solid financial principles. You must have money to reinvest money.
We bought a bank out in Brooklyn earlier this year called Community Capital Bank. It was a specialist in small business lending, also in ethnic communities. And so that put us to 10 branches and 10 ATM centers in inner city urban neighborhoods here in New York City, and about $750 million in assets.
So where are you now? We know you mentioned that you've got $750 million in assets, but what do you have in profit?
We made $4.5 million last year, which is a lot better than losing money, and we're very happy about our progress and where we are right now.
Financially impressive, but Carver, led by its Harvard-educated power player, hasn't always been an industry darling.
People love this institution and wanted it to be around, but you can't ask the customer to come with rates that aren't competitive, service that's not as competitive, talent off, technology off. You can't do that for long and stay in business.
In 1999, losses topped $4.5 million. Carver's consumer lending arm was bleeding. Conveniences such as online banking, call centers, and telephone banking were wishful thinking. And turmoil inside the bank's boardroom led to lawsuits and a failed takeover.
It was a very dark couple of years, and I'm glad that I hope I don't ever have to go through that again.
I had read an article where it said that you had to come in and streamline.
Mm-hmm.
Streamline, is that firing and replacing and bringing in new talent?
Yes, it is.
How do you do that and keep up morale and then stay in the community and say you're a community bank when someone's mother who lives here got canned?
Not easy. It was hard. We sold 3 branches, and we wrote off $8 million in loans, fired a ton of people, retired a lot of people.
Emotionally tough for a working mother. But Wright bounced back and began rekindling relationships made during her early days on Wall Street, convincing several non-black New York City financial titans to raise $45 million in deposits to keep Carver's assets from shrinking.
We think it's important that Carver survives, and we also think it's important that you succeed. And so the combination of those motivations got a lot of people in the city to rally.
Then Wright tapped into an underserved market, one many banks won't touch: church lending.
And let's face it, who wants to foreclose on a church? We've never lost a single one since 1948, so we don't view it as risky work, but many others do.
Reverend Calvin Butts, pastor of Abyssinia Baptist Church, is a recipient of over $20 million in loans.
Carver has always been there. If it hadn't been for a bank like Carver, we wouldn't be able to get the loans that have built our churches, renovated our churches, and helped our churches make progress over the last half century or more.
But we haven't even mentioned Wright's biggest deal yet, bridging Wall Street with the inner city by physically placing financial investment centers in Carver banks. Teaming up with Merrill Lynch, did it make you competitive and offer service that you couldn't do before without Merrill Lynch?
No question. Now we have a partner who's not, we don't tell them to call a 1-800 number or go down to Wall Street. They're right here in our branches, which has never been done before.
We were interested in serving underserved communities, but we wanted to make sure that we did it with a partner that was credible and well respected and had the kind of footprint and opportunity that would make sense for us economically. And so when you put it all together, it was a good match.
The payoff? Industry headlines. Last year, Black Enterprise named Carver the #1 financial services company of the year, with nearly $765 million in assets. And its stock now joins the ranks of Intel, Microsoft, and Google. To go from the American Stock Exchange to now being traded on NASDAQ, what does that reflect for Carver?
We've grown as an institution, and if you're a growth company, you want to be on an institution like the NASDAQ because it represents growth.
And profit.
And profit.
What kind of milestone is that to have a Harlem-based bank open the stock exchange and go from a small community bank to now being publicly traded on NASDAQ?
It feels good. Ding, 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 ding.
Coming up, home foreclosures. Black Enterprise's wealth building expert helps you fight back. Plus, you thought your boss knew everything about closing a deal, but really, they're being coached. Lux Life shows you who they're breaking bread with.
The Black Enterprise Business Report is brought to you by Toyota, a great way to keep moving forward.